First up, we've got to apologise for this late posting. This outage, IT outage thing that happened last Friday, I didn't think we'd been affected, but we had. So we've been delayed with today's posting. I hope you'll forgive us. Wild weather up here over the weekend, trees uprooted, blown over. But that happens at this time of the year. It's the way life is up here in the foothills. It's a hell of a wake-up call, you know, that IT outage. The largest IT outage in our history. One company in business only since 2012, an Australian who happens to head it up, by the way, Michael Santonis, I think his name is. He's got the power to bring the world to its knees. Such unprecedented, unchecked power is unheard of. And I see this guy, chief executive with the spiked hair, probably earning $25 million a year, apologising profusely. Can it be that the world is so vulnerable? Technology, wonderful. It all works beautifully until it doesn't. A massive global failure of technology on Friday afternoon. Travel, health, banking, retail, even the court of public opinion from the garage. We're talking everything, all stopped. CrowdStrike, a multi-billion-dollar company which has had a few billion wiped off its face value, by the way. Shares went down again this morning. There to make the whole system safer, more secure. Would seem to be responsible, but how could it be that we are so vulnerable with no backup? What's the point of a defence force, an army? Everything's vulnerable, able to be closed down within seconds, not a shot fired. Pen and paper, reliable pen and paper, and cash. Can't we sort of refocus on what is reliable and actually works and is proven to work over the long distance? William White, who's a technology lawyer I know, says that it's hard to imagine that there won't be enormous compensation claims against CrowdStrike. There will be lots of people reading and rereading their contracts to see to what extent they are liable for a very costly collapse. 8.5 million computers, Windows computers, which is about only 1%. 1% of them. Can you imagine if the whole lot went down? That's worldwide. And this software was being updated. It was there to prevent such an outage in the first place. Cybersecurity software. Very expensive cybersecurity software. A failure. A very expensive failure. What happened was thought to have been what would happen back in the year 2000 when the calendar flicked over. You remember? You remember the millennium bug? The world as we knew it was going to end. Planes would fall out of the sky. Billions were spent leading up to this, which was anticipated to be the world's worst outage. Didn't happen. Nothing happened. Could have. What's that old saying about don't put all your eggs in one basket? Diversification. I'm not an IT man. Pete, you are?
No, Jeremy.
Peter Clayton behind the camera. Well, is it possible, do you think, to have smaller independent servers linked but not interdependent? Somehow to prevent contagion, virus-proof compartments. You know, you lose one bit, but you don't lose the lot. Compartments that can be sealed off, maybe quickly. I wish I understood it better, but it just seems hard to believe that everything could be paralysed, just like that. Authorities, by the way, have warned people to watch out for scams and scammers in the wake of this unprecedented IT outage. Be on your guard for scam phone calls and emails. And just in passing, 280,000, I think it was, 280,000 Australians have reported being scammed in just the last 12 months. You know, they ring you up and say, oh, well, we know exactly what is wrong, we'll come and defrag you. Or we better, no, we'll tell you how to do it. We can do it over the telephone. Be careful. In a clear warning to doctors, scientists at Melbourne University have announced that the 40,000 welders in Australia, I had no idea there were so many, 40,000 welders face a silent, deadly killer every week. And largely they don't know it. And perhaps more importantly, no one has told them. They have likened it to the asbestos and silica problem. You know, the artificial stone problem, getting in your lungs. It's about fumes and gases that are emitted apparently during the welding process. Also, last week they told us that tampons represented an unacceptable risk to human health. Apparently 19 billion tampons are sold worldwide each year. 19 billion. And the problem is this. Scientists have found mercury, lead, and several other heavy metals, along with arsenic. Arsenic. Residual cumulative poisons. And then there is somehow an acceptable risk associated with baby powder, talcum powder. Don't know who said it was acceptable. Proven to be carcinogenic, linked to cervical cancer. This sort of stuff is known about, but ignored for decades. No, I think we need more whistleblowers or something. Nauru last year, by the way, you know, this island that we maintain, I don't know what it costs to run every year, but even when it's empty, it's costing us a couple of $100 million a year just to have it there. I think that's the rent we pay to have this offshore processing business. Well, last year, there were no occupants. February this year, there were 13. Today, I notice with interest, there are 96. Kind of unheralded arrivals. What's going on? Boats, perhaps? If you want proof that the world has gone mad, here it is. The Victorian Government, by that I mean the taxpayers, are paying for an inquiry which will start off with a survey into women's pain. Women's pain. Nothing wrong with that, having an inquiry. But the inquiry is open to, obviously, all women. But here's the kicker, men as well. Men who identify as women are welcome to take part. What would a biological male have to do with a $150 million inquiry into women's pain, which will probably at the end of the day, I don't know, gather dust on a shelf, or people will forget, or it'll go through to the keeper? Oh yes, and here's another one. Here's another one. I picked this up from the Daily Mail. Now, people in Australia love their football. New South Wales, Queensland, probably more rugby league. But you've got to wonder about this decision. Anthony Albanese, he has made the decision to send $600 million of taxpayers' money to support the setting up of a new rugby league team in Papua New Guinea. Papua New Guinea. Timing is almost everything in politics. And right now our economy is on the brink, truly. Growth rates are anemic. Interest rates may be about to rise. The cost of living crisis in Australia, about which the Prime Minister is always reminding us he is aware of and sensitive to, is made worse by stubbornly high house prices, a shortage of housing stock, and a per capita recession. And in the middle of all of this, the Federal Cabinet is set to sign off on sending 600 million taxpayer dollars offshore to help Papua New Guinea establish a new football team. I don't know what you think about that, but I think we've got to get rid of these people, and I'm not talking about the rascals in Port Moresby. I'm talking about the rascals in Canberra. That's unbelievable, isn't it? $600 million. And the other big news of the day, of course, is Donald Trump. Donald Trump. I don't know whether he's happy that sleepy Joe Biden is gone. I don't know. We'll know more, I guess, in the next few days. But Donald Trump says that one of the first things he's going to do when he wins the election, confidence is good, he's going to scrap Biden's electric car policy. Anthony Albanese, of course, has the same sort of policy here, just a means of manoeuvring people into buying these very expensive cars, which is a very expensive solution for a problem that doesn't exist, of course. Yes, there are government subsidies that ultimately it is the taxpayer and the consumer who have to pay for. Manufacturers, of course, are very impressed. Oh, they jumped on the bandwagon, probably an electric bandwagon. No one, I can hear them saying it, in boardrooms all over Detroit, no one has ever paid us to make cars before now. Gee whiz. The Fiat motor car company, which is one of the biggest in the world, they make, of course, all the Fiats, and they make Ferrari and Maserati, and I lose track, it's a huge, huge company. Head of Fiat said the other day, people don't want to buy the electric version of the incredibly popular Fiat 500. So they're going back to the traditional internal combustion engine where they'll sell cars. We'll see more car makers doing exactly that same thing. Mercedes, I don't know about Volvo. I think they've gone all electric. And the Chinese, of course, are wedded to it, but that's for other reasons. Now, we like subsidies. I can hear the car boardrooms yelling. We like subsidies, but what's the point when we can't sell the cars? It's a good point. Just leaves the consumer stuck with a troublesome, expensive hunk of useless metal sitting out the front or in the garage. Thanks, Prime Minister. Very good. Very good. And you all know about the Pass the Torch thing. They started to buy advertising. I think it was a day before Joe Biden decided to stand down. But he had a growing list of influential Democrats all urging him to step to one side. Well, he did. Kamala Harris is to replace him. She seems, I heard her this morning, in a lengthy discussion, seems pretty good on her feet. But really, she's going to have the same policies that Biden has. Anyway, I'm sure that Biden was reluctant to hand over the torch, isolated medically with COVID, and of course isolated politically as well. No choice, really. But here's the thing. The Democrats, like Labor, are simply, if you ask me, I think they're on the wrong track. No, like the Voice, the electric cars, the renewables, climate change. I don't think the Democrats and Labor can win the next election. They're just simply on the wrong track. But it is looming, and it's going to be really interesting. One thing, Pete, do you think that the Biden shuffle might be the next big dance craze.
Yeah, I hope not.
It has a definite look, sort
A
of.
bit like the Cliff Young shuffle, really, isn't it?
Well, that's true. I'd forgotten about Cliff, yeah. But Cliff got around. I don't think Sleepy Joe does. And I forgot to bring my glasses down, so please forgive me. July the 23rd. Happy birthday or happy wedding anniversary. Hope it's going to be a good day for you. And again, I apologise for the lateness of this posting for today. We like to get Tuesday and Wednesday posted right there on the button at 9 o'clock. You'll have to forgive us. 1904, ice cream. The ice cream cone was created during the St. Louis World Fair. 1904. Wonder what they had before ice cream cones, 1904. Dish. Rose? William Austin Burt patents America's first typographer, which I guess would be a typewriter. 1829. Bert Newton, Australian radio, television, stage personality. Good Morning Australia, Logie Award-winning commentator. Doesn't mention the Graham Kennedy stuff here. And yet that's really the thing that got him going. He was an essential part of that show. Born in Fitzroy.
Don Lane show as well, I mean.
Oh, that's true. He was with the Don Lane show as well, yes. He was born in Fitzroy in Victoria. He died in 2021, but he was born this day, 1938. Happy birthday, Bert. We miss you. Britain's Prince Andrew, 26, wed Sarah Ferguson, 26, Westminster Abbey in London, this day in 1986. American dancer, actor and director Gene Kelly suffers a mild stroke on this day. I don't know how old he was, but that was in 1994. We'd have been getting on, wouldn't he? Haile Selassie, the Emperor of Ethiopia from 1930 to 1974. I always thought he ran a pretty tight ship. Mind you, I don't really know if he was a brutal, ruthless dictator or not, but anyway, he was overthrown. The people who overtook him, overthrown by the Derg. The Derg, a Marxist-Leninist military junta. Eventually, Haile Selassie was assassinated. 1892 he was born, Haile Selassie. English speed ace Donald Campbell drives Bluebird K7 to a new water speed record on this day in 1955. That'll teach me to bring my glasses down. It was 200 miles an hour he was travelling. 202.32 miles an hour to be absolutely exact, which is about 325.60 kilometres an hour. I'll give you one more. Ulysses S. Grant, the 18th US President, 1869 to 1877, Union General, dies of esophageal cancer. He was only 63. 1885 was the year. Some of the things for which we remember the day. Ladies and gentlemen, wonderful to be with you. I'm Jeremy Cordeaux. Peter Clayton and I will be back tomorrow. And don't forget our big live streaming show, jeremycordeaux.com, from the dining room table on Friday between 9 o'clock and 12. Have a great day and believe in yourself. And goodbye from the Court of Public Opinion.